record on this computer. So there we go. And I'll just see if I can carry on sharing my slides. Share screen. Okay, so thank you. I sent out a little thing to say to people what needs to happen on this call, and there's quite a lot that needs to happen because some people are using Zoom virtually for the first time, and some people are more experienced and have got very specific questions. So I'll just share with you some of the things that people have said and see if it fits with what you're looking for. So on the basic side, just really to be comfortable enough with the technical, just to be able to facilitate with ease. And we've got to understand something that is unfamiliar to me in its most basic and simple way, so I can use it without in itself being a distraction from the message I'd like to communicate. And I thought that was a brilliant way of thinking about it, because what you don't want to do is have the technology take over. So I'm going to cover this in two sections really. First of all, just running through the basics, and for many of you that might be all you need. And then in the second half we'll go into the more technical aspects, for instance setting a co-host and using the breakout areas. And yeah, using the breakout facility was big for a lot of people. You know, what somebody has said here is wanting how to manage the rooms, putting people in separate spaces for exercises, and of course how to bring them back. So I had real fun and games practicing this, because what I had to do was log in myself on 3 different devices and have a conference with myself and see what it was like from every perspective. So I have screenshots of that to share, so you'll find that fascinating, I'm sure. And then some other things here, yeah, more about the breakout areas, how to manage microphones, how to manage the chat room, how to use share screen, how to use whiteboard option, and what to do if the connection is lost, or any troubleshooting tips. So I just want to check if there is anything else.
And there's one other thing that Paul, my co-presenter, casually mentioned today, which is about whether there's any voting facility on Zoom. I've got a feeling the answer is no if you're using Zoom meeting, but
it's no. I've certainly not found it. What I've done now is put the whiteboard up. So I would just suggest to all of you to take hold of the text, click on the text, and type a message on the whiteboard if there is anything else that you want.
I'm not sure what you mean hold of the text. You mean of the little pencil?
Yeah.
Oh.
You should be able to do that.
I don't think I can make it do anything at the moment.
No, it just goes away from where I'm clicking.
Yeah. Are we going to wrestle it from each other? Is it some sort of game?
Remote control.
Do you have to relinquish the screen to one person at a time or something for someone else to write?
You're all supposed to be able to do it. Let's see if it, yeah, I'll pass it over to you, Gina.
Okay.
And
what are you doing? Making me a co-presenter or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm co-host now, but I'm still seeing your face. I'm not seeing the whiteboard.
Right, so I'm now going to put the whiteboard back up.
Okay. Okay. Whoops.
Is the whiteboard a feature of Zoom?
Yeah.
The pencil just disappeared altogether.
Okay.
Well, yeah, how to put a whiteboard up is something else I don't know and would like to know.
Yeah. Okay, so would I, because my sense was that you would all be able to draw on the screen. So I'm surprised that's not happened.
Can you see Judy's comment, which is the easiest way for everyone to comment is in the chat window?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I suggest we do that. I'll keep looking at that because, as I say, my sense was we would all be able to send messages on one whiteboard. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board with some of my presentation. Okay, so let's go back to what needs to happen. What to do if the connection is lost, any troubleshooting tips. We're going to cover a lot of those today. Hang on a moment, because that's not shared with you, I don't think. Share screen. Right. I did put this together about an hour ago, I would point out. Okay, so on the call today, we should have Olivia and Magdalena, who are going to be available on the day for troubleshooting.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm not sure Olivia's here, but yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
I'm here.
And is that right? This is the email address to contact you on.
That's correct. Although I think Judy put up this sneaky and lovely way of doing that as well, which is on the Metaforum website. You just complete a simple form and it goes to that email you just mentioned anyway. So that's cool.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. So let's go through some of the basics. And for those of you that have perhaps joined Zoom for the first time, did you all go in through the Metaforum suite and click on room 1?
Yep.
I did. The first time I did it, it came to a blank screen, and then I stopped and I did it all again, and then it worked.
Okay.
It just, it was fine. The second one was fine.
Yeah. I think the first email I sent, I gave you alternative ways to get in. So having some of those alternative ways, perhaps good to have as backup. But when you go in through this screen and go to room 1 or whatever room you're in, the first thing that will happen is you get this screen. So you should recognize this. And, you know, this is the first challenge, is just to join either by computer or by phone. Really simple and straightforward. But the first time I tried to get my mum to connect on Zoom, it took half an hour for her to work out to click on the green button. So I just mentioned that because if you get some people who aren't hearing, who aren't connecting, it might well be just haven't clicked on that green button to connect by computer. The other thing I'd really recommend is you also make a note of the join by phone telephone number and the meeting ID. And if you click on that button, you'll be able to change the country specific code. And then that's your emergency. If you get cut off or anything like that, have your phone handy so that you can reconnect if there's something wrong with your computer. So that, I would say, is a really good emergency backup. So just to run through the basics, once you're in the screen, and you should all see this, so you'll probably be seeing this twice. If you kind of just move your own mouse around the bottom of your screen, these options should come up along the bottom. Yeah, can you see those?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So mute, really easy. You click on that and you'll be muted. Oops. Except that's my presentation, so that's not going to work. But when you click on that, you'll be muted. If you click on that little arrow next to it, you get a few audio options. So for instance, if you're on your headset and you want to be on just through your computer, you can toggle between those things. So it will give you some options if you have them available. So if you're having trouble hearing, or people hearing you, it might well be there's something in the settings there that need to change. I don't think I've ever had problems like that with Zoom. Start your video. You can click it on or off on that. And then on the little arrow next to start video, you've got some more options there for video. And if you click on video settings there, it will take you into general settings. Again, it's unlikely you'll need it, but there are some options there. I'll carry on through. I don't think there's anything there you'll need. Invite, if you wanted to invite someone during the call, again, I don't think that's going to be particularly useful. Participant
Can I
button.
ask, Angela, do you know when it says, if I do go into video settings,
Yeah.
it says enable mirror effect for my video. And I do know sometimes when I'm doing the webinar, you've got to be careful because the writing comes out backwards. Is that what that means?
I'm guessing. I've never pressed it, and I've never had backwards writing.
I think what it
I've
is,
got to test some writing now.
Yeah.
it's on your webcam. It's more natural to look at it as though you're looking at a
Oh,
mirror,
I see.
isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So it might just switch your own
Well,
face.
for your
there.
own picture.
Yeah.
And so if you hold up writing, you would see it, a piece of paper with writing on, you'd see it backwards, but everybody else would
Oh,
see
yeah.
it.
So that could be. So yeah, if I'm going to hold that up, for instance,
Yeah,
you will all
that's it.
see that backwards. So that's
No,
how
you
I
do
would
that
use.
correctly, but you
So
see it back.
if I hold that up, is that
I-
backwards to everyone?
No, it's
No,
the
that's
right
correct.
way
Right.
for me.
The right way.
Yeah.
It's the right
But
way.
backwards to you, presumably, Caitlin.
It looks backwards to me. Aha.
Yeah, because you're used to seeing
So if you
yourself as
click
a-
that, then it looks the right way to me. That's good.
Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
If you click on the participants, this, Wendy, is where you get the option of raising your hand.
Ah, right.
So, yeah, Judy Reese has raised her hand. That's just come up on my screen. You
Oh,
probably
Yeah.
won't see that. It's only the
I'm not seeing
facilitator.
anything there. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so if you click on participants, you'll get a list of participants, and then at the bottom, I think that might be my next slide. You can't see it so well. So over here on your screen, you've got mute, and then over to the next to that on your screen, you should see raise your hands. And also, and this is important, you should all see on your screen, next to raise hand is sign in as host.
I can't see this thing that whatever you're talking about just now. I don't seem to be able to see that.
Okay, did you click on participants?
I click on participants and
Yeah.
they come up. There's a list of them over to one hand side.
Yeah. So if you look at the bottom of that list, at the bottom, there's a few options at the bottom. You should see mute me. Next to mute me, you should see raise hands.
Yeah.
So if you click on that,
On my raise hand.
you've raised your hand, which I can see, but you can't.
Okay.
I can see you've all raised your hands now.
I don't know
what I do about that, but you've all raised your hand.
No, sorry, this is Gina. I did see how to raise your hand. I had the mute or rename options if I hover over my name, but I don't see the raise hand option.
It's not next to your name. If you go to the
It's
bottom,
Gina,
underneath,
above the chat, but underneath. I just found it.
Somehow that menu has disappeared on the side. All I'm seeing is Angela's screen, and then when I clicked on manage participants on my, bottom, it's putting it right in the middle, blocking the screen, and I can't move it. I can't drag it.
Oh,
I've got it on my screen now. So just have a look at what you should be looking at.
Okay.
This is what
Oh,
you
I
should
see the
see.
raise hand.
Mute
Yeah, I had
me,
that before, but
raise
now
hand,
I lost
sign
it.
in as host. Those three options.
I don't have the third one, Angela. I don't have a sign in as host.
No, neither do I.
Neither do I.
I think it's because we are participants, not hosts.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm already signed in as host.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Okay.
So if I wasn't already signed in as host, that option would be there for you. And
Isn't it
might
that
be
you
important.
can, Angela, I've got a vague feeling that you can assign one other person as a co-host, which I think you've done with Gina.
Yes.
Maybe she wasn't.
Oh, maybe that's why I've lost my little list on the side.
It could be. It could be. Yeah. So I'll see if I can unsign you as
Okay.
host and see what that does. This knowing where sign in as host is, I think is pretty important, because I think for some of you who might be hosting larger sessions, you probably will decide if you want to do breakout rooms, you'll need to sign in as a host. So my thought is that when you log on, let's say you're later in the day and somebody's already logged on as a host, they're going to need to log out before you log on. So
in that room, in that particular room.
that particular room, yeah. Okay, so let me go back. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment so I get all my options back.
Can I just have one quick question? Sorry.
Yeah.
Which is, can you assign more than one co-host?
No.
No. Okay, so 2 is max. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I've now unassigned Gina as co-host. So
Now it's all back.
Gina should
Great.
be seeing everything that
Thank you.
everyone else is seeing. So have we got
I still don't have sign in as host.
Okay, the reason is I'm already signed in as host.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. So when
So
you
we can
go for
practice
your
that in
own
our own time.
session, you might need to sign in as host. Now, for those of you that are just using the basic facilities, what we're running through now, you don't need to worry necessarily about signing as host. So I would point that out to you.
Can I check about this? Because it seems to me, just knowing how easy it is to forget to turn off a recording device and all that sort of stuff when one's doing things,
Yeah.
that if we have got somebody signed in as host and forgetting to sign themselves out before the end of their session, we really need the next presenter to have some way of contacting the previous presenter to say, please unsign yourself. I don't know if you've got anything planned for that, Judy.
Well, I would think that if you signed into the same room and another person is hosting at that time, you can just sort of say, you know, hi, I'm here.
Yeah. But if they go away, so if they do the thank goodness my session's over, go get a cup of tea, and they haven't unsigned themselves in, that's what I'm thinking could cause some interesting excitement.
May I
maybe use
Silke.
help desk. Use help desk.
Yeah, Silke is here. Just in the nick of time.
I'm so sorry. I had 7 o'clock on my calendar, and then I saw the email. I'm so sorry. I'm also. How can I help?
Silke, we've got an inner circle meeting at 7 o'clock as well, so that's why that's in your calendar.
Thanks for telling me what's on my calendar. Thanks.
But the reason I thought excellent, it's Silke wandering in, is you've had the experience of being signed in twice as the host of the same meeting, haven't you?
Yeah.
It didn't break anything, did it?
No, it just the host all of a sudden was powerless. He couldn't do anything anymore. I think the
most recent host to sign in takes
over. Takes over. Yes, that happened.
Okay. I was going to say, if you want to, I'm happy to give that a go. Practice that at the end of our call. Let's see what happens if somebody else tries to come in. You know, if I kind of log off or I just go off and do something else, are you able to get in? So if you want to try that and see what happens, I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, I'd like to try it.
Right, we can do that.
Great.
Can I just ask? So how does this question came up now?
Because we were talking about if people need to use the breakout facility or they want to assign a co-host, they will need to sign in as a host. And when you first connect through the Metaforum suite, you will just arrive as a participant. So you'll need to click on sign in as a host. But if the last host hasn't signed themselves out, that option won't be available to you.
Okay. So when does this? Now I need to ask. When does this appear? So I come in as a participant, and at that point I won't have this option you just said.
Yeah, so you've joined as a participant now. So Zilke, if you click on participants, you will see the list of participants on the right-hand side of your screen. And at the bottom, you should see the same options that I'm showing you on my screen now, if you can still see that. So you should have mute me, raise hands, and then the third option that would be there if I wasn't already logged on is sign in as a host.
The only trouble I'm having, it's a shared screen, so all I have is 4 windows of the participants on the right-hand side, so all the options you're talking about are just not there.
If you run
Or
your
maybe-
mouse, and again, try this for everyone, if you just wiggle your mouse
Uh-huh.
around the bottom of your screen, the options should come up. Does that work?
That works for me.
Yes.
So when they disappear, they're still there, they're just hidden. And if you wiggle your mouse, they should all come back.
Actually, what it was, somehow like you have a bar at the bottom of your screen from Windows, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And that overlapped with this. But when I clicked on the window thing where you can make it wider or smaller, so basically it came up. It was just sitting behind it. I got it. Okay, so
Yeah.
participants, found it.
Yeah. List of participants at the bottom.
Yep.
Mute, raise your hand. And if I wasn't already logged on as the host, that would be where you could click on sign in as a host.
Okay. And if someone else signed in as a host, just tell me again, how do we switch that?
I think what needs to happen is whoever has finished off their presentation needs to sign themselves out. Whether it will happen automatically if they go to another room, I don't know. And that's perhaps what I'd like to try, is when we finish, I'm going to click on room 2 and see if that automatically frees up room 1. And if it does, that will be a pretty easy way of making sure people just log out.
Angela, this is Gina. I've typed in here. Something's happened. You had, unco-hosted me, and then things returned to normal. But now suddenly I've got, if I click on participants, the list is smack in the middle of the screen blocking things, and I don't have those options again. So I did for a while, but now it's popped back.
I tell you what, I'm going to get your screen, ask you to share your screen so we can see what's happening. Actually, I'm not sure if that will work. It won't show me the Zoom.
I see what you mean.
Gina, I've had both those screens. So I had the participants coming up slap bang in the middle of everything, and now they're at one side. But I've been fiddling around to see if I can get to see people's pictures as well as the shared screen. And I think the difference about where the participants appear might depend on what you're doing in terms of viewing little participant thumbnail-y bits or not.
Well, I don't think so because I hadn't changed that.
I tell you, try moving it, Gina.
I can't. There's no way. You're talking about move the list of participants in the middle. Yeah, there's nowhere I seem to be able to grab it and drag it. It doesn't move. Right on top, where it says next to participants. That's what I tried. No. The top of it just says type to filter, right? Because it looks like it might be a little tucked in under the pictures, but I don't see a way to.
Can you get the bottom? If you wiggle your mouse along the bottom, click on participants again.
Right, that's what I have.
And does it disappear when you do that?
No.
It's still there and it's still in the middle of your screen.
Right. It was peculiar because when you first took me off as co-host, that disappeared and it went all over to the left and everything was there. And then all of a sudden by itself, it seemed to have just come back and blocked. You didn't co-host me again, right? No, because it just lists me as participant.
Yeah, see, mine's come up in the middle because I clicked on the top, but I'm just moving that to the side. As it comes up as a window,
where did you put your cursor to be able to drag it?
Just at the top, it says participants and then the number, and I just put my mouse next to it and moved it over.
All right, let me try. I'm going to hide the pictures and see if I can then. Oh, okay. Now I get the. Okay, that's better. Now I can drag it. But how do I get the pictures back?
A little icon somewhere near the top right-hand edge of the screen, perhaps.
Yeah. That little pages picture.
Yeah, I fiddled with that, and I clicked randomly on any little odd icon I could find up there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I've got one at the top now, and all the things that are at the bottom have come up at the top, and right at the end there's a more option. I don't know if it'll be different for you as participants.
I don't see the more.
I don't either.
No, I think that's probably because I'm the facilitator.
I have a more option with merge to meeting window, which allows my participants pop-up dialogue to tuck in alongside the picture with the Zoom. Sorry, with the chat window on a block to the right-hand side.
What did you do to get that all blocked together? Because mine used to be, but now they're two separate windows.
If I shared my screen, would you be able to see what I'm seeing in Zoom?
I'm not sure. I don't think it shows you Zoom. I've had to take screenshots of another session with Zoom to get that up there. So I'm not sure that's going to work.
Oh,
Well,
so
let's at least try it.
Shall we?
Okay, let's have a go.
Okay, so if I
Is that you that we're looking at now, Roo?
No,
well,
I'm just gonna...
oh no, it says we're viewing Angela Dunbar's screen at the top, and I've got green. My share screen is green. Don't know what that
Okay.
is.
I've made you host now, so you should be able to share screen. So I have to stop sharing mine.
Oh, so it says now this will stop the other screens sharing.
Now I see you as host, and now the pictures are all back. So
okay. So what's happening is when I'm sharing my screen, it's covering up some of your options.
Okay.
So when you're presenting, if you haven't shared your screen, what you can see now is what will be there. Okay, and now Rupert is sharing his screen, and you can see lots of
there's no Zoom's disappeared, hasn't it?
But I think we've kind of got to the answer with that, in that what was distorting what you could see was the fact that I was overlaying it with what Zoom looks like. So perhaps just look at what you can see now.
Okay, but what I'm not clear on, this is Gina again. I closed my video with the, with the pictures of everybody, the thumbnails, because the top of my participant list had been hidden and I couldn't drag it. So what I'm wondering is, how do you open that again? Oh, I see something that says gallery view. In other words, if someone comes and says, I can't see everybody, where do I direct them to open that picture, those thumbnails?
You click on gallery view and it gets everybody up so you can see everyone. So try clicking on gallery view.
Yeah.
And then
that puts everybody where I can see them, but not your.
And if you click it again, maybe it will go back to the default with just the small ones at the top.
And will everybody have that gallery view when they open up their?
They will, but as we've discovered, all your experiences are likely to be what your participants are going to experience, but perhaps less so. I mean, what we're doing in this call is we're playing around and we're pressing buttons, so there's a little bit more perhaps going on.
Can I just ask Angela? I think it's right to say that the order of people in the gallery view is different for all of us. Do you think that's correct? Or do we all see the same order?
I don't know. I can see me first, then Wendy, then Gina, then Nicholas.
Oh.
No.
Yeah,
it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
What tends to happen is the person that speaks appears in the big screen, and then when they stop speaking, they disappear again.
In the speaker view, but not in the gallery view.
No. So I guess if you haven't got anything to present, the gallery view is quite a useful way of making sure you can see everyone.
I think it is the single thing that makes Zoom way better than all the other webinar platforms is gallery view. You can see everybody, everybody can talk, everybody can participate.
And as I've got gallery view on now, I can see who's muted and who's not. I don't know if the rest of you can see that.
Yes.
My experience has been that at the beginning of calls, I often need to remind people that there is this option of gallery view. I don't think it does gallery view by default. I think people have to be told.
Yeah, well, I didn't know.
And Judy, how many people will it show? Up to a maximum of what?
I don't know. I've had up to 26.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it will show 200.
Yeah.
Very, very small.
I believe the session with 50, that works.
As many people, it's very small. And it's a good policy. I believe that it was Madeleine that said to unmute, ask people to mute our them, and then it's easy to talk, and we can ask for to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, Miguel's saying ask people to mute. Absolutely. It's a really good idea. I'm mindful of the time, and I know a lot of you really wanted to know about the breakout rooms. So should we kind of move on a little bit to that? And what I will say to you all is, as you've probably discovered, you know, I don't know everything there is about Zoom, but I've learned a lot just this week from logging onto the system and playing about with that and getting used to what happens when I press the buttons. So, you know, there's nothing stopping you all having a bit of a go. And if you bump into someone, like I bumped into Ben earlier today, you know, so much the better. So I definitely suggest, if you're really new to this, that you get familiar with some of the different options. So we'll come back to sign in as host, because as I say, for some of you, I think that's going to be important. But can I just mention about the share screen? I think any of you should be able to share screen. I don't think you need to be the host. So if any of you want to click on that green icon, obviously if we all do it, it's not going to work. But what should come up is a window that says select a window or application that you want to share. Yeah, can you see that? And if you click on that, you will get the appropriate thing coming up. So Miguel's now sharing the whiteboard, so he could type some messages or he could share anything else. So if you had a PowerPoint presentation, you could share that. Gina, I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
I was saying, so you can share your screen without becoming a co-host.
Yes. Yeah. So, so for instance, if you're thinking, when we go on to doing how you become a host, you might think, well, you know, I'm not going to bother. I'll just come in as a participant because it's easier. You can still share your screen. Okay. Some of the other things that you could do, if you do share, what will come up is that some of the messages will come up at the top, and there'll be a red button that says stop share. As I've discovered today, you can't really do much else unless you stop share. So it's quite awkward to try and keep your presentation going and doing other stuff in the background. So, you know, toggling between the two is a little awkward. Okay. So I think those are the basics. So we've covered mute, we've covered sharing your screen, we've covered looking at the participants, raising your hand, muting yourself, reminding people to mute themselves.
Did you share that as a host? You could also mute the others?
Not if you've just logged on as a participant. If you want to mute everyone, you will need to sign in as a host. So I'm going to put my presentation back up now to show you that, which means you'll lose some of your features. So don't worry, they're only going to disappear for a moment, but it will just mean I can go through and show you what you would see on your screen. So for that, I need to share my screen and share my presentation. So let's move on. Actually, we can keep them from current slide. Okay, so this is what you just saw on your own screen for sharing your screen. You can click on desktop, whiteboard. If you click on desktop, they will see everything on your desktop. So if you have a PowerPoint presentation, click on the actual PowerPoint presentation rather than perhaps the desktop, because otherwise they'll see any messages that pop up, absolutely everything. This is the white. If you click on the whiteboard, these are the options that you'll see. If you click on text, you'll be able to write text. I had thought everyone could share the same whiteboard, so I'm hugely disappointed that that's not going to be possible, but never mind. Okay, so let's say, oh, hang on, let's go back. It's very confusing because when I see Zoom on my screen, which is my presentation, I think it's Zoom and I'm pressing the buttons and they're not working. But if you're in Zoom as yourself, you will see your own name as participant. So here I am, Angela. So I know I'm not signed in as a host. If I click on sign in as host, it's going to take me to this screen. It's going to ask me to switch. And in order to switch, I'm going to need to take out my sign-in details and type in the right ones to be the host. This is the complicated bit. It's not complicated, but you need to write it down if you want to do it. So I'll need to take that out, take out the password, and instead, if I'm in room 1, I need to type in metaforum1@gmail.com, and this is the password. Room 2, metaforum2@gmail.com. This is the password, metaforum 3, and so on. I'll send you the slides. I know Judy's already circulated this information, but I've realised that unless you do this, you're not going to be the host and get the host features. So it's an easy mistake to make. Okay.
So we all need to know those passwords for the room that we're going to be using.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but one also, it's not just the password. One needs to type in the metaforum1@gmail.com.
Yeah. Just as I've done here, you type that in and you type that. Now, when I've been playing around with it, I've then been going back in and signing in as myself in case I kind of stay as host. But I'm not sure whether it would automatically take you out anyway, but we'll experiment with that later. Okay, here's a horrific picture of me. But what this is supposed to demonstrate, and because my screen is too big, it's not, is that now you can see I'm actually signed in as Metaforum1. So it's changed what I can see, and it's changed the options at the bottom. If you can't see this screen, go to where the participants is, wiggle the thing at the bottom, and if you click on participants, again, all the names of the people will come up here. You will be at the top, and something should have changed there, and also the options at the bottom should have changed. So now you'll have mute all. You'll also have unmute all, and there is also a final button here, more, and a couple of useful things here. Mute participants on entry. If it's a large group, I would do that, because otherwise what people do is, you know, you're halfway through something and it's like someone will walk in the room and they say, hi, can you hear me? Hello, hello. And everyone will do that, and it's quite difficult. So you might want to mute people and then at the appropriate moment unmute them. So that's an option that you have. Play, enter, exit chime is absolutely awful. Please don't do that because it goes ding dong. And you'll be getting ding dongs throughout your whole presentation. Lock meeting, I think that means no one else can join. I'm not guessing you won't want to do that. So there's some options there. Okay, this is where it's getting to the interesting bit now, I hope, is that, okay, look, here's me, and here's me on another computer, and here's me on another computer. So I had 3 computers all logged on so I could see what happens. So hopefully you can see, you know, a realistic, fairly realistic view of what you will see if you're logged on as the host. Your list of participants, there's me as host, there's me as Angela Dunbar, and there's me on my iPhone, and we're all shown up over there. What we will also have then is, okay, we've done that one. This one, these are the options at the bottom. When you toggle along the bottom, this is the magic bit, things are going to be different. Participants is now manage participants, and you have more options. So this is where you can assign your co-host by clicking on the person's name. And you also have the option to mute everyone. If you carry on looking along here, what you've got here is the breakout rooms. I'm going to suggest if you're all right for another few minutes, I'm going to suggest we try that now. I've only been able to try it with me. So if you're all willing, we'll give it a go.
Okay.
So we've done that one. Let's go on. So when you click on breakout rooms, this is what comes up on your screen. Assign X number of participants to X number of rooms. So because I was the host, I had 2 more people, both of which were me. So I could only assign 2 rooms. It will give you the choice of doing it automatically or manually. If you have 53 people on your call, it'll say assign 53 participants into so many rooms. There is no upper limit. I played around with this. So if you have 100 participants, you can assign them to 50 rooms, and then there's 2 in each room. Now, does that make sense? And then you would click on create rooms. I've got a screen to show you what would happen if you did it manually. So
Can I just ask, with the automatic, what happens to the odd person?
They will just go into what there'll be 3 in one room. So
There
it
will
will
be
assign everyone into those rooms. I don't know whether you'll know which room has got the extra person. But if you did it, if you only have 3 or 4 people or a smaller group, this is how you would do. If you clicked on manually, this is the screen that comes up. So you could click on assign, and it will give you the list of delegates. You could just click on, right, I'll assign myself to room 1, and I'll assign my iPhone to room 2. As I say, I think unless you've got a very small group, that's probably not a good option. So automatic is pretty easy. So it'll show you all the names of the people in each breakout room. So here you will be able to see, albeit you might not really have time to digest it. And you need to click on open all rooms, and that will start the rooms. On my iPhone, what happened was something came up on my screen to say you're being assigned to a room. Will you join it? So I actually had to click join to go to that room. So that might be worth pointing out to your participants. When you're assigned a room, you actually have to click join to go to it. It was very obvious. It came up on the screen in green, join.
But did that happen only on your phone and not on your other computer, Angela?
I think it was on both, but I wasn't looking.
Sure.
I'm assuming it came up on all the different facilities. Now, this is what you'll see when they're in breakout rooms. You will see this, and you'll see if somebody hasn't joined. But also, you can join the breakout room. So you might want to pop in and see what's happening in room 1 or room 2 or room 3 or however many rooms there are. At the bottom of that screen, close all rooms. When you're finished, when you want everyone to come back, you would click on close all rooms. And what's really quite nice about that is what they see is, I don't know if you can see this because I've got now, let's move those out the way. All participants have been given 30 seconds to leave their breakout rooms. So they get a little bit of a warning. So if you said, well, I'll get everyone back in 5 minutes, and when you press that, they will get, okay, you've got 30 seconds, and then you'll be back into the main room. So people get a little bit of a notice. Okay.
Sorry, Angela. I'm just. I think I missed this. This little breakout room's not started, and does that pop up automatically for you once you've done the assigning, or it's done automatically? Does it pop up for you, the host?
Yeah. So as you go through, let's just go back again. So here I press create room. It'll automatically take me to this screen.
Right.
Then I'll click open all rooms, which will automatically take me to this screen. And then when I'm ready to stop, I can click close all rooms. So we could do that now if you want and see what happens. Shall I assign you to a room and you can have a little discussion about whether or not you know anything more about Zoom than you did before you started? Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so I'm going breakout rooms. You won't be able to see it, but it's telling me assign 11 participants into X number of rooms. So I'm going to do 4 rooms. And it says at the bottom, I'll have 2 or 3 participants per room. I'm going to click create room. So once I do this, let's say I'll give you 3 minutes in your rooms and then I'll have you come back. Is that okay? So when you're in your rooms, yeah, maybe you just want to ask each other a few questions about Zoom and see if there's anything else you need from today's call. Okay, so I can see now all the different participants and all the different breakout rooms, and I'm going to click open all rooms. You will then see on your screen join. You click on that and you'll join the room. Okay, I'll speak to you all in 3 minutes. Hello.
Hello.
Are you back?
That was great.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually
That
probably
was
one of
much
the
better than
easier
I
things.
expected. I didn't think I'd ever want to use them, but I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
It is very handy. It's a nice space, and you know, as soon as you've overcome that first seconds of what's going to happen, it's great.
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone share anything that they would like to ask or share now we're all back in the group?
We were practicing using the whiteboard
Okay.
as a 3.
Yeah.
So we were able to create a whiteboard one act as scribe, and when I tried to save it, it went down to my PC. I'm not sure how you would share that back again, whether you could just take turns of the scribes showing thoughts or whatever come up.
Yeah, well, perhaps if you if it was on your screen and you came back to the big group, I could then invite you to share your screen, and you could share what everyone came up with. If one person in the group, there is an option to copy it. So you could copy it, keep it on your computer, and then share it after the call.
Could you show where that is, Angela?
The options that come up along the top, it's kind of on the top right hand side.
Is this for just the host or for everybody?
I believe everyone. If you click on whiteboard, you do it now. If you click on share screen, I won't be able to see it, and one of the options is the whiteboard. Oh, okay, Wendy's doing it. Now, if you kind of just wiggle about up the top, your options should appear.
Yeah, it's got a save option.
Save, yeah.
Oh, I didn't get a save.
Probably because I happened to get there a nanosecond before you. Okay, all right, so I'm saving it. And so now if I close it, go on, close. It's very keen for me to keep my squiggle. Hang on, let's try there. Okay. And if I then go back and I open it again, my squiggle is still there. But, hang on. And
you're talking about the options next to the green bar where it says you are viewing Wendy Sullivan's screen, and there's a little options.
Well, you won't have it, Gina, because Wendy's got it. So, Wendy's
annotate, though.
Oh, brilliant! So now Rupert's managed to write on it. So that's good because
that's a secret, a bit of a secret option. Yeah.
How did you do that then? So this is what I wanted to do.
Exactly. I tried to nick the pencil from you when we were in our threes, Rupert, and I didn't succeed. So how did you do it? Everyone's doing it.
Sorry, I'm getting carried away now.
It's up the top where it's got.
It's a strange annotate.
Okay, click on annotate. I've just done it now. This is me writing hello. Okay, that's what you do.
Where's annotate?
Cool.
Yeah.
The floating screen, you're viewing Wendy Sullivan. At the right-hand side, it's got a drop-down of options.
What's the one that says request remote control?
I haven't got...
I see annotate, but now I see.
Well, I think, Wendy, if you're sharing the screen, you wouldn't have an option to.
Okay. Okay, of course. Makes sense.
It's just sort of scribbling on your screen. I don't suppose it gets saved in the whiteboard, but
I don't see a save on.
Well, so I've still got a share option, but I've also got Judy McCracken requesting to take over. So I'm going to try saving.
Yeah.
And I'm going to approve Julie, even though I don't really. See what happens. So nothing seems to have happened at this end.
Oh, that's me. Is that me? Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I think you would need to stop your screen sharing, Wendy. Someone else.
Stop sharing. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So now, Julie, if you go to whiteboard, will you have all that bump?
I don't think so. It was only you, Wendy, that could save it.
And in order to do anything with it, I'd need to go back there, presumably. Yeah. So there it is again. I could share it.
Yeah.
Okay. So annotate is the key thing to get to draw on someone else's whiteboard.
Yeah. So that's what you need to tell people to do if you want them to share.
Right.
So I've certainly learned something today.
And was the annotate just drawing, or was there also the option to type? Maybe I just missed.
You can type. Yeah, the T. There's a symbol of a T. Do you want to have a go, Gina? Do you want to try to screen share yourself now? Okay. Let's see if you can do it. Whiteboard. Excellent. Okay, and we can look at get the screen share options and click annotate, and then we can also write something.
Now, what I'm still not seeing is an option to, and then now I have the save. If it's my whiteboard, I can save it.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the file, if you want to send it to everybody else who'd been on the meeting, then it's on your hard drive.
Fantastic. Okay, Judy is about to go. Judy, thank you so much for being here and making this all happen. And I have one thought that I'd like to share before you go, just to put out there that I'm thinking, maybe we all need to find ourselves a buddy to practice some of this with, because it's quite difficult to go through it all and only be yourself as a participant. So if anyone wants a buddy, I'm happy to buddy with them. I might have some time free tomorrow afternoon, but some of you might just want to pair up. And if you can pair up on your actual presentation, it's so much easier if you've got somebody else who's not thinking about their facilitation, who might be able to take care of some of these things for you, and then you could assign them co-host. Just a thought. Okay.
So for trying this out, can we go into these rooms any which time from now on?
Yeah, you can go into unless Judy's got any restriction on it. Thanks, Judy. You don't mind if we play with the rooms between now and Friday? Yeah, okay, we're all open.
All open.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Super.
So yeah, I really think it's just so helpful just to get used to the buttons and how they work. And as I say, if you've got somebody else because it's one thing to go through this all on my own, and quite another thing to be explaining it to someone else at the same time and be toggling between my presentation and the real screen. I mean, I think that didn't help today because I'm seeing double. So
the only thing I want to mention is, as far as I know, if you want to try the breakout rooms, you really need at least 3 people. It won't work with 2.
Of course not. No. Yeah.
So that's just on the side.
Yeah.
Angela, can I ask about recording?
Yeah.
So I'm in room 2, so that's not automatically being recorded.
I think the last I heard from Judy is that they may well be recording them centrally, but I would suggest that you all record them for your own purposes anyway. And I think I saw something from Judy earlier about, maybe we could record them and then make them available on YouTube. So you will all have the option to record, and everyone will have the option to record. So
even if you
option to record.
Yeah.
Even if you've just signed up as a free account holder, you can still record.
Yeah.
Only hosts can record. You need to assign people to co-host, right? And then they can record.
Right.
Okay.
And
They won't be able
the
to
problem
record
with
otherwise. Okay.
And the problem with the central recording is Judy already paid for this.
Yeah.
But the problem is there will be 50 sessions. So she will get a big gigabyte load of data that she download, she needs to analyze, she needs to cut and whatever, upload it again to YouTube. That's a huge amount of time and a huge amount of work.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier if each of us, when we host our own session, and we're logged in as hosts anyway, we click record, you get a 200 or 300 meg download file at the end of the session on your computer. You upload that to YouTube. If you don't have a slow connection, that takes half an hour. And then you send her the link, so that he can centrally say, okay, this is Olaf's session, this is Caitlin's session, this is Silke's session, this is Angela's session. And it's only those where it actually makes sense, where people maybe have agreed that they want their recording shared, etc. So that's a crowdsourced way of handling that.
Oh, and can I say something, Olaf?
Yeah.
I believe that Judy only paid to record room 1, I believe it. I don't know if the default recording will take the room 2, 3, or 4. So if you are in room 2 or 3 or 4, it's better if you record it.
Yeah.
And it's there. It's a backup to the. But
exactly. Yeah.
Can I suggest, Gina, that you now stop sharing? You might want to save it. Keep it for prosperity.
How do I stop?
You should see there's a red button at the top.
All right, I think my pictures are in the way. Ready?
I think that you click the. Okay, there you got it.
Whilst you were in your breakout rooms, I had time to read the chat messages. I didn't have time with everything else going on before that. I think we've covered most of them, but Gina made a point, asked a question that I want to clarify, and that is, if you mute everyone, will they be able to unmute themselves? No, you will have to unmute them. You then take control of the whole thing. So yeah, you'll need to unmute people if you mute them.
And
Angela, did you test that? I'm quite sure I made a different experience.
Okay, let's test it now. I'll mute you all.
Yes.
And let's see what happens. Mute all. What's come up is it's giving me the option, allow participants to unmute themselves. There is a box. So if I don't want to allow you to unmute yourself, I can take that out and then you won't be able to do it. So there's the option. Okay, so I won't do it, but you know that option is there. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, Nick.
When you're talking about recording, is that just pressing the record button on the right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that does a video as well as the sound.
It does.
Yes.
And that's all. That's okay in terms of what Judy's budget goes for. That we can do that.
Well, you can do that. It's being recorded on your computer.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Simple as that. Okay. Thanks.
If you produce a file and then at the end of the meeting you can download the file, you know, it's something like that.
If you get a folder with a video file, an audio file, the chat text file, and I think that's it.
Yes.
And you can do with that file whatever you want.
Is host, do you have to ask permission before you press the record? You have to ask the participants permission?
I would normally do that. And it depends what you're doing. If you're doing something with a live demo, then I usually say whether or not we use the recording will be up to everyone to agree at the end. And then I usually say we're not going to do anything with the recording for at least a few days. So if anyone feels that they're not comfortable using the recording, just let me know privately, because the person who was demo subject might not want that being broadcast elsewhere. So, you know, I think that's what I would normally do, is say I'm going to record it, but say you'll all have the option to veto it if you need to.
So that downloaded file, is that editable? As
Not
in,
easily.
Not easily. So
No.
it's not
Depends on your skill.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's a video file. So if you know how to edit video files, it's editable.
Do you know how to do them?
You could do it in iMovie and chop it down and just put little bits up.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's really easy.
Okay.
Do we have like a list or a little, almost like a handout of you know, the things to tell the participants? Has someone prepared something like that already? For instance, tell them, or is that the purpose of this?
It was kind of the purpose of this.
So we take notes, etc., and take it from there.
If I have time, I've written my own notes to do this presentation. It wouldn't be that difficult to type up, but it just depends if I get a chance. And probably a lot of it is not essential. You know, if I just typed up the essential elements. I think I gave a link. There was a couple of links that I found about basic factors on Zoom that I think I sent you all in my first email. So if you go back to that, I'm sure there was something about using Zoom, just basic instructions from Zoom themselves. But if I can, I will type up my notes.
I have got some notes that I kind of shuffled together myself for having had an absolutely ghastly time with a couple of people trying to get them onto Zoom, which I'm happy to share. But if I do that, you need to know that it's me just cobbling bits together from goodness knows where, not acknowledging any sources. Some of it was from Zoom and some of it was from elsewhere. So I don't know if anyone wants that, if the best thing is for me to send it to you, Angela, or if anyone who wants to email me. I don't know what the best way of doing it is. So I'm not saying that it's definitive or has got everything in it or whatever. It really was me just hoovering stuff up to try and help with the chaos that ensued. I think some of the chaos comes when you've got people using iPads and iPhones as well as ordinary PCs.
Why does that make it more chaotic?
Because things might be in different places.
Exactly.
For starters.
You don't necessarily have all the same screens coming up. Don't necessarily have the same things happening when you try to log in. Yeah.
Could you put the link on Facebook, maybe, for those notes, Wendy?
There isn't a link. It's me having copied and pasted bump into one or two documents. I mean,
if you sent it to me, I could just forward it to. I've already got everyone
in your group. Yeah, that would work.
I'll just send it on.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
I'm also noticing in the chat room, Judy put a link up here at 12:42. Oh, that's my time. Sorry, 5:42. Says Metaforum session hosts resources. So perhaps that's helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, we could put it there. I'm hearing what Wendy's saying, and that it's not necessarily, but you're not really probably supposed to distribute it, but you know, it's only for us. We'll all delete it afterwards. Okay.
All right, I'll have a go at doing that.
Or if you want, send it to me, and I'll send it to Judy, and she can put it on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
can I just ask, the emergency standby for Olivia and Magdalena, does that mean Olivia and Magdalena are kind of standing by to look at emails through the day?
Absolutely, yeah, they are.
Good for them.
But bear in mind, you know, if you're logging on at 11 o'clock and have a problem, and someone else has logged on at 11 o'clock and had a problem, you're not necessarily going to get an instant answer. That's, you know, that's what I would be thinking. So anything that we can all do to troubleshoot in advance, and just have a backup. So one thing I haven't said, I think it's a really good idea to be logged on twice if you can yourself. So log on your iPhone as well as log on your computer, so that, you know, if one fails, you're still logged on in another way.
Right.
If you do that, make sure you mute yourself. Otherwise, again, you'll get feedback if you've got the two next to each other. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Have we done it? Is that all right?
Thank you. Very useful.
Thank you, Angela.
Thanks, Angela.
Having done a bit of trying to explain stuff to people, I really appreciate what you've done. This doesn't happen by magic. You must put an awful lot of testing stuff out into place beforehand. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. And I certainly learned a lot this week, so it's been really helpful for me too.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And if anyone wants to buddy up, get in touch, and I'd be very happy to.
Brilliant.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.